In my last video, I shared with you installing the solar panel on the roof of my campervan Ernie. I'm so excited that the solar panel is finally installed and I can start generating electricity and using my van off-grid. The great thing about solar is that even when it's cloudy or overcast, it's still able to generate some electricity from the solar panel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you where the solar energy is going and what it's going to be powering. So let's get started. For my first van trip to Shetland, I used a very small portable battery which can charge my laptop 4 times. However, it wasn't enough for my needs and I was always running out of power. So when I came back from my trip to Shetland, I knew I wanted to change something with the off-grid electrics in the van and get something with a much bigger capacity. When getting electrics into a van, there are 2 common ways to do so. Option 1 is to install a proper electric system, a 12 volt or 24 volt electric system. This is what was installed in the bus conversion that I previously did and requires a basic understanding of electrics and wiring in order to install it yourself. The second option is to use something called a portable battery. A portable battery is a more simple option and everything is already inside the battery. So the items like the inverter, the MPPT solar charge controller, and a lot of that cabling is already inside the portable batteries. Portable batteries are a really good option for people who are looking for something simple and easy and they don't want to go into learning all about the wiring and electrics. My goal in this van is to get on the road as soon as possible, so I've decided to use a portable battery. The company BLUETTI have sent me this AC200MAX portable battery to use in my campervan Ernie. This battery has a capacity of 2048 watt hours, which is a lot, especially for one person. This basically means I can charge my laptop 29 times or my phone 170 times, or I can power a fridge for over 28 hours. The fridge in the van currently doesn't work and the door of the fridge is broken. So what I'm going to do is remove the fridge and put the BLUETTI AC200MAX battery in the position where the fridge was. I will get a fridge in the future, probably a 12 volt DC fridge, however they are quite expensive so I do need to save up for that. It's more of a necessity to have power to be able to charge my laptop and to be able to work online while on the road compared to having a fridge. I see that as more of a nice to have item rather than a necessity. So that's why I will maybe get a fridge at a later point. Simon helped me bring all the cabling through the upper cabinets and down behind the driver's seat. He also helped me attach the MP4 connectors to the ends of the wires so the solar cables could reach the fridge area. I will find a solution to cover the cables at some point, but the main thing is that it's set up and working. Okay, let me tell you some more about this battery. So the BLUETTI AC200MAX is a lithium battery with up to 3,500 life cycles. Inside is a 2200 AC sine wave inverter with a surge capacity of up to 4,800 watts. It's expandable, so it's possible to attach an expansion battery to increase the capacity. It can be recharged in 7 different ways and I'll be showing you some of those in a moment. It can be controlled via the BLUETTI app and it also has wireless charging capabilities on the top. On the front of the AC200MAX there are 4 sockets to power AC devices. High wattage items can be used since it's possible to use items up to 2,200 watts. I'll use these for my hair straighteners, a blender and a hairdryer. On the front there are also 4 regular USB sockets. There's also one USB-C socket which will be great for charging my laptop and I won't need to use the bulky Apple laptop charger. There are also sockets for charging 12 volt DC items which might come in handy in the future if I get a 12 volt DC fridge. On the top it's possible to charge your phone wirelessly. So on the side of the AC200MAX is where the input goes in. So this will be where I charge and connect the solar cables, the DC cables when I charge from the vehicle, and also the AC cable when I recharge from either my house or a campsite. There's also sockets here for where you would attach the cable for the expansion batteries. There are 2 handles on the top which makes it portable, however it does weigh 28.1 kilograms. The touchscreen on the front is really easy to read and you can see the current state of charge. Next I'm going to try connecting some input cables to see how much we can get, and I'll also plug in some electronics to see how many watts we're using. So now I'm going to start testing the input. So because I installed the solar panel in the last video, that's the first thing I want to test today. So the BLUETTI AC200MAX can input 900 watts of solar. However, the panel that I installed on my roof is 130 watts. I attached it to the roof, which is made of fiberglass, using Sikaflex. Let's see how much solar we can get today. The weather is pretty sunny and it's about the middle of the day, so we should be able to get a decent amount of solar energy coming in. The BLUETTI comes with 3 cables. So this is the solar charging cable. This is the 12-volt cable, so I can charge it from the vehicle when it's driving. And this is the AC cable. So I've put that in here in the position where the fridge was already, and it connects up here, goes through the back, and then connects into an AC socket. The solar is now connected. Let's check how much we're getting. So as you can see on the screen here, on the top left, we are getting 74 watts coming in from the solar panel. That is brilliant. As you can see, there's a few trees around, so that might be blocking the full sun. But overall, I think it's quite a good result. Quite happy with the input for the solar. On the BLUETTI website, it says that if you have connected 900 watts of solar in prime sunshine, you can recharge the BLUETTI from 0 to 100 in 3 to 3.5 hours, which is incredible. Based on me having a 130 watt panel on the roof, I've done some calculations and I estimate it will take around 24 hours of prime sunshine to recharge the BLUETTI AC200MAX from 0 to 100%. Next, let's test the DC power. So when I'm parked up off-grid, not at a campsite, I will always have the solar panels plugged in. However, when I'm driving the vehicle, I will swap over the connection. So I'll remove the solar and put in the DC connection. So I will charge the vehicle when I'm driving. The power will come through the cable and I'll get the 12-volt electricity, which will charge the BLUETTI. I'll turn on the ignition now and I'll check how much we're getting when I'm driving. So inside the area where the fridge was, in the top left, you can see a 12-volt power source. So this connects into the engine, and I've done some tests and there is 12-volt power coming to this 12-volt socket here. So I will plug in the 12-volt socket here, and then the other end will just connect to the BLUETTI cable. Before I turn on the ignition, I bought this puffin keyring when I was in Shetland. Let me know what you think. I really love it. I actually bought it on the ferry. They were selling these in the shop and I didn't have a keychain for my keys and I love it so much. So I don't think I need to turn the whole engine on. I can just turn it on enough. Okay, so the lights are on the dashboard and I will check if there's any power coming. So hopefully you can see that. So top left, this time there is 20 watts coming in, so it's sort of fluctuating between 18 to 17 to 21 approximately, so there is some power coming in. I wonder if I actually turned on the engine fully, if this would increase. I'm going to try that now and check if this number will increase. I've turned the engine on and the maximum we're getting is 40 watts for input. From my experience, when the vehicle is driving, you do get more coming out. When we did the alternator charging in the bus conversion, there was much more energy coming through. On the BLUETTI website, it says that by using DC power from the vehicle, it will take 10 to 20 hours to fully recharge the BLUETTI AC200MAX. Now let's test the input of the AC power. So sometimes when I'm travelling, I will be going to campsites, and it seems to be that in Scotland, a lot of the campsites have electricity hookup included in the price, or you can just pay a few pounds more to get the electricity hookup. This van has the connection for electricity hookup, so if I ever do go to a campsite, I'll be taking advantage of that and recharging the BLUETTI to the full capacity before I leave. Let's test and see how much AC input we can get. So as soon as the power started coming, the light turned on this adapter here, and there's also a sound of the fan. Let's check how much we're getting. So on the screen here on the top right, you can see the AC input. So we're getting 475 watts, which is absolutely brilliant. Staying at a campsite overnight will be a fantastic way to get this recharged to the maximum capacity. If the battery is at 0%, based on the information on the BLUETTI website, it will take 5.5 to 6 hours to fully recharge the BLUETTI from 0%, which I think is pretty good. It's also possible to charge the BLUETTI using AC power and solar at the same time, so that will speed up the charging even more. Now we've done all the testing, so hot in here. I'm now going to test the output to check a few different things. I'm going to test a vacuum, I'm going to test a hairdryer, and I'm going to test my phone to see how many watts they're using, and we can check on the screen. So first I'm going to check the vacuum cleaner. So let's go onto the screen here, nothing happening. Maybe I need to turn this on. So AC on, and you can hear the vacuum in the background. So there is the output, bottom right. 1060 approximately, so that's quite a high usage of watts. The vacuum cleaner obviously uses quite a lot. This is amazing that it's possible to use the high wattage devices with this BLUETTI AC200MAX. So we're at 97%, so it's not dropped yet to 96, which is really good, especially since it's such a high wattage device. Okay, next is the hairdryer. Be already on. Let's try the hairdryer. So the hairdryer was 1660 watts. Very high. The hairdryer, because it generates heat, it is using a lot of watts. Generally, items that generate heat use much more electricity, such as an induction cooker, a hairdryer, a heater, things like that. Next, let's try the mobile phone and see how much power it is using from the USB socket. So I think I need to turn the DC on. So the DC is on, and in the bottom left we can see the DC load. So it's taking 8 watts, between 6 to 8 watts to charge the mobile phone. So that's not much at all. It's probably fast charge as well, I would imagine. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, if you're using this BLUETTI AC200MAX to only charge a phone, you can charge your phone 170 times, which is insane. After the first trip I did in the campervan to Shetland, it really made me understand what were the pain points in this van. So the 3 that really stood out to me was the first one was the curtains, second one was the electricity, and the third one was the water. So I have the 10-litre tank underneath the sink here, but it was quite inconvenient to get it out and use that to fill up the kettle or my water bottle. So these 3 things were the things I really wanted to change before going on my next trip. While I was down getting the solar installed with Simon, he also did a job on the cabling under the sink. He managed to get the cable attached, and basically when the ignition is turned on, the sink now works. I bought a submersible pump and also a 10mm hose, so now the water is coming out of the 10-litre tank and into the sink. So I'm going to turn on the ignition now and just show you that the sink is working, and it is so exciting. I can brush my teeth, I can wash dishes, and I can fill up the kettle and my water bottle using this system here. So maybe in the future I can do a proper job on this so that I don't have to turn on the ignition in order to use the sink, but I don't have to actually turn the engine on. I just need to turn it on a little bit towards the lights and it'll work. So for the time being, this is a really great solution. So this comes up like that and it should work. I'm going to remove the drain. Let's just check it's hooked up. Are you ready? There's water! So exciting! So the pump has quite a strong PSI, so it's quite a lot of water that's coming out, so I'll have to be quite cautious with the amount of water that I'm using because otherwise I'll have to be filling up and emptying the tank all the time. So again, huge thank you to Simon who made all this possible. Having this battery is going to make a huge difference to my campervan travel. It means I can stay off-grid in amazing spots in nature and not have to rely on campsites so much. So excited to start exploring more in Scotland, so please follow along and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I hope you enjoyed today's video and found the explanation of the battery helpful. If you're interested to learn more about the battery, you can click the link in the description below. Thanks again for watching. See you next time. Bye!